Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Yesterday was swap meet, junk fair, whatever you want to call it, day. And I bought a bunch of cool stuff that I'm eventually going to fix up and restore. Let's do one of them today. The swap meet by me, we have a big swap meet every Sunday and Tuesday usually. Usually in the early spring, early summer time, you can usually get some pretty good deals on some stuff. And you can find some old tools that people have been collecting all winter. It's kind of what these guys do for a living, so they collect all this stuff. And you can usually get some good deals if you get there like towards the end of the day when everybody starts packing up. So I found a couple cool things. This tool here, I don't know if you know what this is. It's a screwdriver, right? It's got a little screwdriver end on it. I remember this screwdriver from the Blues Brothers movie. And ever since I saw Elwood take it out of his pocket and push it into the elevator and take the screws out in like half a second, I wanted one. And I've never seen one until the other day, or until yesterday. I saw it sitting on the table. I looked down and I'm like, I have to have it. So I asked the guy how much, and $3. And it totally works too. So if you've never seen one of these before, they're really cool. What this is the first, not power, but the first automatic screwdriver. So think of like the power drill drivers and stuff you have today. This was a drill driver before cordless drill drivers existed, right? So it has this collar here that turns back and forth, right? So if you put it in the locked position, everything just acts as a normal screwdriver, right? A little flathead screwdriver. So acts totally normal, everything's good, right? So now if you turn this collar, now check this out. Oh, it extends. But now watch, as you push it in, it turns the screw, and you can just kind of like a ratcheting screwdriver. You can just keep pulling it out, pushing it in, and it will turn your screwdriver, right? Which in turn turns the screw. Next up, I got this cool like food chopper, food grinder. So essentially it is a table mounted old school like meat processor. You put walnuts in there, peanuts, whatever you want. And as you grind it, it's got a little like auger in there, pushes it towards this, and it essentially pushes out the ground up food. So I thought that was cool too. And then the final $3 purchase is this guy. This is cool. I've wanted one of these for a while. So it's a drill, right? So this is an egg beater style drill. It's all cast iron body. It's got gears on it. And as you spin it, it spins the drill bit at the end. It's made for smaller bits. It doesn't have a chuck that is mainly larger, but it's used for like drilling pilot holes and stuff when you're about to put a screw in or a nail or something. This is a great way to do it without, using power if you wanted to do a hand tool. This guy is a little worse for wear. The gears are they work, but they could use some love. The body is fairly rusted. The handle has seen better days. So this, I think I'm going to restore. I'm going to do that with you guys today. Use our new fancy screwdriver here. Ratcheting effect. All right, so we've got a very little shallow set screw that kind of holds this handle on. And then we've got a handle here. I think this handle is intended to spin. We'll see if we can break this free or not. So right now it is not spinning. So try that. Next up is the gear. That was loose. So we've got another screw, kind of small little screw with kind of a larger head, but it's weird, the slot is off center. That's strange. With that, we can pull the main gear off. Check all the teeth. They look good. I don't see any signs it's cast iron. Oh, yep, we have one tooth right here that looks like it's chipped off. That sucks. Didn't see that one, but nothing we can really do about it, but it's not horrible. It's just like the back half of the tooth is missing. So it should be okay. So put that in the box. Then take that bit out. Our chuck comes off. That should come off in several pieces. So we've got the kind of outer housing here. And then this piece here, it's kind of like a cone shape. It rests up in, and as you tighten down the chuck, it basically pushes these three kind of quarter cone or third cone pieces up, and that's what clamps down around your bit. Those are all look to be in good shape. The chuck seems to be in good shape, just kind of rusty and dirty from over the years. So everything looks to be decent. Let's see, does this guy come off? Those threads are okay. You know what, let me put this gear on. Clamp this down. See if we can get a wrench on this and loosen this guy up. There we go. So we can now unthread that. Everything there thread-wise is looking good. That's the next piece. Now we should be able to take our gear off. On this little gear, there's definitely a lot of slop in here. I don't know if there's a way I can clean that up or not, but this gear here seems to be held on by some pins. Let's give it a few taps and see. Oh yeah, she's coming off. Yeah, there's the pin that holds on the gear. It's got a hell of a bend in it. Not sure if that's supposed to be bent or not. So now this should come off, yep. And then we've got our gear underneath. That gear is looking pretty good. Not any slop or anything on the shaft. The shaft is just real dirty. So maybe we'll clean that up and polish it. Threads look to be okay, just need a little scrubbing. I don't know if you can see that or not, but down in here is where this pin rides in. So it kind of sits in there, and there's a lot of slop in there. I don't know if there's anything we can do about that or not. I don't know if I can find a brass bushing or something maybe to put in there. It would have to be pretty thin though. Not sure. We will see. Maybe I just pack it full of grease. It might be better. So now we need to address, we're gonna get this handle off of here. Like a cheap garbage chisel here. These don't want to come out too easy.
A few moments later.
So I finally got this off. I was looking down in here and I thought this rod would have been threaded on, but it looks like it wasn't. It looks like it's one solid piece. But essentially I sprayed a bunch of WD-40 and I tried spinning it and essentially to unthread it, but essentially what I did was these little nails that were in here basically snapped off inside of it. Nothing's broke, nothing's hurt. We'll just have to put a new nail through. So essentially it looks like it was basically a riveted, where they put a rivet through and then just hammered down both sides. All right, there's all the parts. Battery died in the last shot. You missed some real amateur hour shit. But essentially I got the handle off, I got the knob off, Basically, it was just a rivet kind of pushed through, hammered through there. It's this guy right here. So we'll have to clean him up, put him back on, and then mushroom him back on the handle, or press fit him back in there. But essentially, these are all the metal parts. So now I'm just going to give them a bit of a vinegar bath here and let them soak. So we've got that sitting in the vinegar bath. Lock this up, clean up our mess that I totally just made, and we'll let that sit for a few hours. All right, 24 hours later, and that is looking nasty. All right, out of the vinegar, all washed off, rinsed off, came out really good. Everything pretty much rust-free. Still got a little bit of like paint, original paint on it here. I don't know if that was powder coating or paint, more than likely paint. That didn't come off, but that's okay. I'm gonna repaint it anyway. There's a couple pieces like this collet here that are gonna need a little bit of love. I'm gonna have to fix them up and try to straighten them back out where they're just kind of banged up over the years. Probably mostly me taking it off, but not bad. The gear came out really good too. So still some like original red paint, but again, gonna paint it red anyway, so not a big deal. Still got a little bit of cleanup. There's some like gunk inside the gears I want to clean off. So I'm probably gonna take like a wire brush to all these now, and then I'll start polishing the pieces that are going to be polished, and then I'll paint the pieces that need to be painted, and then we'll start taking doing a little bit of work on this handle, trying to make it a little bit stronger. Got a little bit of a crack here, so we'll have to fix that and kind of shore up some of this. Maybe we'll pour some epoxy in here and solidify that up a little bit once we put everything back together. I've got all the pieces now finished. I went through every single one by one, kind of polished everything up, got everything polished and cleaned. I went through all the cast iron parts and painted them to their original color. So I made this one black, polished the shaft of the gear rides on. I got the gear painted red, and then both the gears I went through, cleaned up with a wire brush, just cleaned out all the teeth, and then went through with like a bluing solution and kind of blued them up a little bit just to give them that darker metal look. Everything else on the buffing wheel I just buffed clean. Then I sanded both the handles down to bare wood and just gave it a new coat of finish on there. So a couple things. This is the pin that the handle rides on. And if you can see here, if I turn just the shaft, I don't know if you could see that or not, but it's like super crooked. And I tried everything I could to straighten this thing back out. I hit it with a hammer multiple times. I tried to straighten it, but it's just so bent that I just think it's not salvageable. So I went to the hardware store and found this, which I think will work. It's just maybe a thousandth or two of an inch, a little bit too big. So I'm just going to take a drill bit, kind of drill out this handle a little bit so that it'll fit. And then this should slide nicely on there, so it'll turn and then with the fitting. So I think that'll work good there. This pin here we pulled off, it's all bent to hell, and it's just not a very good pin. So this is what holds the gear on the shaft. So I went and found one of these tension pins at the hardware store, cut one down to length so that it'll fit the gear. So I think that'll hold a lot better. So we're going to replace that with this. We're going to get rid of that with this and that. So I think that'll be good. And then I'll have to probably drill out this. This is where the original handle was riveted in, and it just spun on this shaft. So it kind of went in there, right? So we're going to pop that out. I'll probably have to drill out this just a little bit to make sure that I can get this screw through the back end. So let's get this thing back together and get it back to working. Oh, one more thing. I found a nylon bushing. It was like a nylon washer, and I put it on the bench grinder. I don't know if you can see how thin I got that, but I put it on the bench grinder and ground it down to just like the thickness of a fingernail. And actually inside here, there was all that slop. So it would slop around on that shaft in there. So I filed this thing down and sanded it down so that it will fit in this hole now, and it'll stop the slop back and forth. So let's start with that. Let's get that thing in place. So to put it in, I put the shaft on and kind of line it up like that, and then kind of use my fingernails to kind of work it down into the hole. Perfect. Okay. So I've got that like pressed in there now. I don't know if you can see that, but right in there. Pressed in there now with the that nylon bushing. So now that fits in there and there's no more slop. It's nice and solid and spins still freely. I'll put a little oil in there and I think that'll spin real nice. So that lined everything back up and got everything straight, at least with the body. So that should work. All right, so let's get that in. Let's get our gear on. That'd be next. Line that up like that, and then a tension pin goes in. All right, we've got our gear back in place. Everything's on the shaft. We got the tension pin in there. That took a little more coercing than I thought it would take, but it's in. And we are spinning nice and free too. No slop. That feels really good in there. A little bit of oil in there and that thing's gonna be spinning great. So that's on. Let's get this bottom piece on, get the chuck done. So that goes on there. And that piece. Then our 3 actual chuck teeth. And that I put on the blue ink solution as well. And the chuck handle goes over the top. And then that should spin. And bring our chuck up to the top like that. Nice. Yeah, looking good so far. All right, next up, put our gear on. Our gear's already locked in. Oh yeah, that's gonna be real nice. Okay, cool. That's in place. And our screw goes back in. That was polished. Like that. Nice. Looking good. All right, let's get our handle done. So now that is going to go on there like that. then this screw will go in there. So I need it a little bit bigger so that this will sit flush. Well, actually not bad if it sits a little proud. And it's actually perfect size. Okay, cool. So we'll do that. And we gotta drill out this guy. It's drilled. Now I'll put that screw through. Perfect. Tighten this down. Ouch. And that should still spin on here. Yep. Okay. Put a little oil in there. We'll make it spin a little freer. And then this just goes on here, locks into this around this little curve, hooks around that piece of cast iron, and then this little screw goes in place. Holds it on. All right, next up we got to put our handle on, but when we put the handle off, it kind of made a bunch of mess with some torn out soft wood. So I've just got some epoxy, some Gorilla Glue clear epoxy. Just gonna mix some epoxy up and stuff it down in that hole, and that way when we put our handle on, it'll solidify it on there really well, and it'll kind of leak in some of those holes and fill in some of those voids. So I'm just gonna shove it, goober a little in there. That should fill any voids that we have. So this collar goes on like that, and then this guy goes on top like that. Press her together. Nice. I think that'll fit nicely like that. And then I'm gonna put some rivets in here. It had some nails in it before, just little tack nails, but I think some rivets would be fine. They'll expand, fill that hole. All right, I got a bit all chucked up. Everything's good. Let's test it out on this piece of wood here. Nice. That works really well. Perfect for drilling pilot holes. All right, so that's it for today. That is how you take a rusty old $3 hand drill or egg beater style drill, whatever you want to call it, from the junk fair, swap meet, whatever, and turn it back into a really nice, functioning, usable tool. Could not be happier with this thing. I love the handle. It's still got little bits of patina in it and stuff where it's just been used and abused over the years, but everything turned out really, really well. Could not be happier. Everything's shining, polished up. It spins just free and nice. Everything works really good. I got everything oiled up nice and spins true. No more wobble no more side to side wobble in the handle. So I got a nice egg beater style drill out of this and add it to the collection. I love it. So if you like this type of content, give me a comment, subscribe down below, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you on the next one. Let's go drill some more holes. This is fun.